welcome back. For the second half of your story, there's more than just the diagnosis now at this point. So you went through, the COVID, you went through the diagnostic process and understanding that this is a life with a new disease. And there's a lot of changes, a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of learning that came from this. So we're past some of that part of your story, but you're still living in that. So where are things now for you?
Yeah, so it's funny. I kind of say I've broken up my life into two parts. It's
Mhm.
BC before COVID and AD after diagnosis. And that's just kind of how I'm living my life because
Yeah.
before COVID Abby is so different than after diagnosis
Yeah.
Abby. Um, and I grieve her. I grieve her
Yeah.
sometimes, but she became such a strong person and like
Mhm.
the way that I've persevered through it has been, like, something that I'm very proud of. So, um,
Yeah.
trying to find the healing of it all, I did get pushed to that, other gastro doctor in Boston, and
Mhm.
he just immediately was like, "Meds, meds, meds." And
Mhm.
I went on so many different meds. It felt like Alice in Wonderland where she, like, eats the cake and, like, gets huge and then drinks
Oh
the bottle and
gosh.
gets small, like, it was just, like, everything was a different crazy thing that was happening, and it wasn't little, it was, like,
Yeah.
extremes, highs and lows. So it was like I would try a med and I would be in the bathroom for a week, and that was my
Mhm.
life for that week. Or I tried Reglan, which I'm pretty sure everyone has been given at some point, like, "Hey,
Yep.
just try this Hail Mary."
Mhm.
And it is now I know you said that you got it, and it's now listed as an allergy for you.
Yep.
Uh, it's listed as an allergy for me as well because of how bad the reaction was, and it
Mhm.
wasn't a reaction like hives or, closing of the throat, it was my head was on fire. I was, like
Yeah.
I was pulling at my hair. I I I couldn't even describe the feeling I was having, like, I couldn't calm down, I was up, I was down, I was so anxious, it was
Yeah.
crazy, it was awful.
Yeah.
So just a lot of those trial and errors, and it got to the point where I was like, "No more. We
I'm
are
done.
not yeah, we are
Mhm.
not doing this anymore." Um, so I actually got my PCP involved. I opened up to her about what was going on physically and mentally, and she got me a nutritionist, an emergency therapist, and a psychiatrist.
Mhm.
She's incredible. My PCP is incredible, and even though, like, at first, like, she didn't know everything because I hadn't opened her up to it. Once she did, she was like, "How can I help?"
Yep.
So I went to the psychiatrist. I got diagnosed with medical PTSD just because of everything that I went through with that one specific doctor, but also with the meds and the
Mhm.
tests and everything. I did like the barium swallow test. That was super not fun. I don't know if you did
Mm.
that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think at
Yeah.
one point or another we all have had a relationship with barium that we would like to forget. It's like the toxic ex that no one wants to talk about.
It was all so bad. So yeah, they I did get diagnosed with medical PTSD, which felt kind of validating because I was like,
Mhm.
why am I afraid to go to the dentist? Why am I,
Yeah.
like stuff like that? And I was like, oh, it's legit. Like this is something
Mhm.
that's actually I'm gonna have to deal with. So the therapist gave me immediate intervention. But that was just temporary. I had to get a long-term one didn't really help. I tried 3, and there were some, like, concerning things that I feel like they were saying, like, one of my therapists was like, "I can't imagine, like, the pain that your family must have gone through, like, when you were going through this, like, I can't imagine what they were feeling." And that was something that I felt the entire time I was going through it,
Yeah.
like, just how much guilt I had, like, it got to the point where my parents were separating, and they had to move back in together to take care of me. And
Yeah.
I was like
That's rough.
I was like, "They're doing so much, they're putting so much money into me, like, I feel horrible for this," you know? So, having someone say that, I was like, "This is not helpful at all." But so
Don't
I
need to
kinda
be reminded of my guilt.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. so I also kind of stopped therapy as well. I really gave it a good try, but I feel like I'm very in tune with myself as well, and I
Mhm.
was able to kind of work through things on my own. The nutritionist was very helpful, but she didn't really know what she was doing either. Like, she gave
Yeah.
me a super high dose probiotic, thinking that that was like gonna be the
Aw.
end all be all save me thing, and it didn't really
Mhm.
do anything.
Mhm.
So it was a lot of trial and error with those types of things, but also with
Yeah.
food, finding what my safe foods were. And then,
Yeah.
as you know, one day a food is safe, the next day it's not.
Mhm.
And you just have to navigate that. But it's gotten to the point where it's pretty manageable.
Yeah.
Um, I know that my life is different, and I know that there's a lot. I don't say that I can't do things, because I can do anything I put my mind to, but it's definitely requires a lot more prep than
Mhm.
before to be able
Yeah.
to do it. So, like, for example, my partner, his entire family was going to Cape Verde this past Christmas,
Mhm.
um, and they wanted me to go. And at first I was like, yeah, I'm in, because I solo travel the whole world. Like, I've gone a million places by myself since being diagnosed. I dog sat in Australia for like 2 months over the summer,
What?
a couple summers ago, just because, well, I also was like, how much of it is the American food poisoning me? So
Mm.
so I was like, I'm gonna try going to another country, and that's gonna cure me. And then it didn't. But it was good for my mental health, and also just to
Mm.
prove like I can do this. I can be on my
Yeah.
own.
Mhm.
And so it was stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, sure, I can go to Cape Verde, that's fine. And then I started doing research, and we were going to the most remote island, which you have to take a ferry to get to. And then, like, your barber is also like your doctor. And like, I was really scared, because I was like, if I get into a flare, how am I
What do I
getting off
do?
this island? Like, what do I
Mhm.
do? Yeah, I was like, I could actually die. And there was also some things with the food and the water not being safe, and I was like, this is really sketchy. But I'm so hard-headed that I was like, I'm gonna figure this out.
Yep.
So I did figure it out. But like I said, like, most people don't have to think about those things at all, they
Mhm.
just go live their life, do whatever, face the consequences if they get sick. But if they get sick, it's just whatever, it's not like a
Yeah.
big deal to them. But for me, it's life threatening. And that's like
Mhm.
another thing as a teacher. Um, it's I'm immune compromised now. Like, if I get
Yeah.
sick with a stomach bug, like a normal person would be fine after a couple days, but I could end up in the hospital, which I'm sure,
Yeah.
you feel the same way as well.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of being a hypochondriac now too. Like, just so in my head about those things, but I can't let it stop me, because
Yeah.
I could very easily be like, this is too much. Like, I'm just gonna get a remote job, stay at home, never leave my house. But that's not a way to live my life. And I also want to honor all of the people with gastroparesis that can't go out and do that. Like,
Yeah.
that that are, bedridden or hooked up to tubes or in the hospital all the time. Like, and I've seen those people in the Facebook groups, and I've talked to them, and I know, like, how much their quality of life suffers, and it hurts. Like, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I'm so scared that one day I could end up like that too. So I'm like, I will go do everything, and now that I can do it, and like take all the pictures and videos and be like, I did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a interesting feeling, like, when you have been in a place where you've been, where you can
Yeah.
eat, like, nothing or just the bare minimum. Every bite after that, that doesn't hurt you, there is never a moment without feeling grateful for that bite. There's never
100%.
anything that you're going to do for the rest of your life that you are not going to feel some sort of way about doing it, whether it's just feeling it could be from guilt to feeling grateful, and I know
Yeah.
that I bounced through that with different things that I've done, and you and I are very similar, and where I'm like, "Don't you dare tell me I can't do that, because I'm gonna go do it twice." just because you said I
Exactly,
couldn't.
exactly.
But the
Just
way we do things now is different. It might not look your travel, like you were just saying, isn't going to look the same as a regular person or a non-disabled or non-sick or able-bodied person will. They're like, "Oh, just throw some extra underwear in a bag and a toothbrush and toothpaste and off I go." There's planning.
Yeah,
There's what if situations you plan for. There's,
yeah.
all these other things, and you're like, okay, now I can go after 3 days of, figuring it all out of how can I do this? But you're
Oh,
still
I
doing
know.
it. And that's amazing. It really is that you haven't let this hold you back with the trauma that you experienced and the trauma that we all will still experience at one point or another,
Yeah,
and the anxiety that we do feel about doing things, and you're not letting that hold you back. And that's such an amazing thing to show other people that you can do something. You just have to find what your something is that you can go do.
yeah, it definitely fuels me, and like we
Mhm.
said, like, feeling so like, I do grieve. I grieve all the time
Yeah.
for the life that I used to have and, like, the person that I was, but,
Mhm.
um, just being so grateful for what this has given me, like,
Mhm.
all that time that I had to just, like, think and reflect and be like, "Who do I wanna be as a person?" Because like, when you're on the couch for that long, it's like you really are in tune with yourself. You have time to really work on
Yeah.
yourself. And I found a lot of healing through the arts.
Mhm.
Um, I I I was able to do a lot of painting when I was sick. I was able to really connect with my family and friends more than I ever had, getting that time where I was out of work for a year and a half. So getting that
Mhm.
time to really reconnect was huge. I also wrote my undergrad commencement speech and I submitted it and got picked.
Hmm.
And but that was when I was like I was getting pushed around in a wheelchair if I wanted to go out because I couldn't
Yeah.
walk. So I I had to go onto the stage in a wheelchair,
Mhm.
and but I told everyone, I was like, "I am getting up, I am delivering that speech standing up, and I'm
Hmm.
walking across the stage and collecting my diploma, like, even if I can barely stand, I am doing it," and that was my goal, like, it's my whole like, ever since being diagnosed, it's been like, "This is my next goal. This is my next goal," and I've just
Yeah.
been working towards it ever since. So then after that, my next goal was like, "I'm going to become a teacher again." And I got my master's in digital teaching so that I could switch to video. So I did get a year of teaching 4th grade. I didn't think I would be a teacher again. When I was on the couch, like, not able to move, I was like,
Yeah.
"I'm never gonna teach kids again." And that was so hard because my whole life, I was like, "I am a teacher. To my core,
Mhm.
that is who I am. I'm put on this earth to help kids." And then I was like, "I can't do that anymore."
Hmm.
So I became a 4th grade teacher for a year and then switched to a video teacher, and I've been doing that ever since. I absolutely adore it. I teach dance again, like, I'm able to move
Hmm.
my body again, which is something I also thought I could never do.
Yeah.
I found a lot of healing through yoga and dance as well. And like I said, traveling the world, and
Mhm.
now I'm a travel agent on top of that, where I am working to help people with chronic illnesses travel because
That's
I feel like that
amazing.
yeah, I feel like that's my niche, and I'm really able to help people because I've been through so much with it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know it. So being able to help people with that, and then I've also really wanted to share my story and
Hmm.
gastroparesis because so many people don't know about it. They really don't. And so I entered a pageant and I won, and now I'm going on to nationals with that, and I'm able to share my story and also be like, I've had all these things happen, and I have really bad days and I still show up and compete and do all these things. So pushing myself like that. And then the most recent one is I'm launching a nonprofit as well, um, called Superhero Studios Foundation, where
I
I
love
was
it.
getting yeah, I wa my 2 things that got me through were the arts and superheroes.
Mhm.
I find a lot of strength in superheroes, especially Marvel superheroes, but I realized, like, how much, um, kids also, like, they're going through so much, if they have illnesses or disabilities or adversities in their lives, they find a lot of strength through those things as well. So
Yeah.
Superhero Studios Foundation is arts-based superhero-themed programs for
I
those kids
love
in
it.
need. Yeah, and I'm so excited. I already am working with someone on doing some inclusive dance classes. I wanna do some, like, wheelchair dance classes that are
Mhm.
accessible to people in wheelchairs, and then I also am doing some events at a local bookstore as well, where we're gonna be launching some of our superheroes, but I'm just so excited to be able to push my work onto kids and show them everything that I've been through as well to inspire them too. So, I'm
Yeah,
excited
that
about.
is beautiful, and I
Yeah.
love I love that so much, and you are an incredible human for everything that you've been through and everything that you're doing, and, to look at the life that you have and or could have had if you didn't decide to say, "I'm not letting this take me down, I'm not letting this hold me down," and some days, I think the beautiful thing is acknowledging the days that do hold us down allows us to have the days that don't.
Yeah.
And, you're not afraid to share that and to say that this was difficult and like this might look easy from afar. It might look like I have it all together from afar and I'm doing all of these things and like, but there's not a look what I can do moment. It's I want to show you how I did this and I want to share this with you and I want to take you with me. And that's a beautiful thing because that inspires people more than the look what I did. I'm so, like look at all the things I've accomplished. It's more let me take you with me, and that's going to inspire so many kids and so many other patients that are going through it right now too.
Yeah, I never wanna be like, "This is everything I've accomplished," you know? Like, I
Yeah.
just I just wanna show people that, like, you can do this too, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I could be dying inside, and I'm, like, still, like, I need to persevere, not just for myself, but for the people that can't, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I wanna be the voice for the voiceless always.
Yeah.
And anyone is having a bad day or just needs someone to vent to or is going through this, like, I wanna walk them through it, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting what, a life with chronic illness teaches you, isn't it?
So much grace and patience, and I feel so grateful, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I am very excited that you chose us to share your story with and to put that out there because you're doing so much and it's going to change a lot of lives. So thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you. I've been following all of you for a while, and I'm so, so grateful that I get to share my story.